What's up? This is Marco back on the Sage of Soccer channel, and today I'm going to be doing a preview of Premier League Match Week 7. And what I'm going to be doing for this game is I'm going to be running through each team and going over the keys for them to win this game, and then what I think the result will be. So to start off with that, we're going to do the game that starts in like 2 hours, I guess. Wolves against Crystal Palace. So when you look at Wolves for this game, I think the key for them is they need to get off to a good start. This Wolves team has been pretty notorious for being a second half team, and that's really a bit of a problem for them. They need to start off strong now. It's a tough ask to beat Crystal Palace in only one half because you know they're going to be defending well. So I think they need to get off to a good start. Honestly, even if it's 0-0 at halftime, I think they've got a good chance of winning, especially with how Jimenez has been popping up with some goals and how good their subs are making an impact. So next, I think the main key is Adama Traore is going to have a big impact today. Last time Wolves faced Palace, he was really abusing Tyreek Mitchell, but I think that was one of Mitchell's first, if not his first, start in the Premier League, and he's improved a lot since then. So Traore, he's going to have a lot of a tougher matchup today, and I think this even if he comes off the bench, he's going to have to make this impact, and I feel like he really is going to have to either score or put in that really good ball today. Not just, oh, he looks good. Like, he's going to have to really contribute to a goal today. The last thing for Wolves, I think that they really need to neutralize Wilfried Zaha. Zaha has been Crystal Palace's main threat creatively and goal scoring as well this year. But if you take him out of the game and force other players to create, it's really a lot tougher for Crystal Palace to win. And depending on their lineup, he might be their only real creative threat. And if they do all that, I think Wolves will be able to win. So for Crystal Palace, I think their keys, it's kind of similar to Wolves. Need to score early, stop them from having a good second half, because as I mentioned, if this is 0-0 going into halftime, I see Wolves winning. But if they're able to score early, and I think they have the ability to do that, Zaha's been on fire, Gyro's been looking good ever since he came in, Townsend's had a great start to the year, and Batshuayi's due to get going. With all of them, I think Crystal Palace has a good chance to score early, and if they do, they can take the lead, and defend in the second half and get the win. Then I think Zaha's going to have an impact. I did mention all those other players, but it really is going to rely on him. And if he's able to do well, I think they're going to win. Lastly, I think they need to keep this game narrow. This Wolves team has a lot of threats going down the flanks. As I mentioned, Traore. Nelson Semedo is there as well. I think that Marcel will be coming back from them this week. And whoever Podence or Neto on the left-hand side, or one of them on the right as well. Traore comes off the bench. But they've got a lot of threats on the flanks. And Crystal Palace, they really need to keep this game narrow. And I think that if they do that, then Wolves will be a lot less creative. I think they're a lot less likely to score a goal. They can do this. Townsend's been showing a lot of work rate defensively. If they start Schlupp on the left, maybe to help deal with Traore, that could be a big help. But keeping this game narrow, I think, is a must for Crystal Palace. So my prediction for this game, I really see Wolves coming away with the win. It's a pretty tough game for Palace to play, and I think Wolves is in pretty good form. I don't think they'll slip up late like they did against Newcastle. I think they'll be able to come away with the win. Next game, we have Manchester City against Sheffield United, and I think for Man City, it's probably their easiest game in a while with how Sheffield's been playing. But still, they have to dominate the ball, take their chance, and when they are dominating the ball, they have to score with it. They've a lot of times you can dominate the ball and really not get much out of it. You're going to need an Aguero to put the ball in the back of the net. Sterling might have to be good. Kevin De Bruyne, he's been good, but keep playing well. I think if they do that, they'll be able to get some goals, and the main things just don't get beat on the break. I think that after they learned that lesson with Vardy, they'll be a lot more wary of this, and their defense has been improving, I think. So, just for me, I'd say just dominate the ball, get some goals, don't get beat on the break. So for Sheffield United, this is a tough ask, which is bad for them. Where are they on the table? They're in 19th, only 1 point. To get the win, I mean, they need to keep it tight at the back. Don't allow those chances. Try to shut down Kevin De Bruyne. And I think that they will get some chances, and they need to put that in the back of the net. they've been missing a lot of big chances. I think most of their goals have come off of penalties. I think it's 2 out of their 3, and the other one was a consolation goal. But they need to take their chances. Lastly, I think they need to show some fight. This is a team that I think isn't as talented as the rest of the teams in the Premier League. And when the effort's not there, it really hurts. They need to show some fight, really get physical, make Man City know you're there. So, prediction for the game, Man City's going to win, probably by 3. I mean, Sheffield could keep it tight at the back. If they do win, they're going to have to keep a clean sheet. I think Ollie Burke's going to be the one to score if Sheffield does get a goal, but Man City's probably going to win. Next, another pretty easy game for top 6 team. You have Chelsea against Burnley. So for Chelsea, the key is keep solid at the back. They've been looking good ever since Mendy's come back and Thiago Silva has come into this team, but just make sure it's tight at the back. But I think that they'll be able to do that. I think they need an attacker to step up because this front 4 of them, it's whatever combination of Werner, Pulisic, Havertz, Hudson-Odoi, Mount, Abraham, or Ziyech, whatever one. I'm probably forgetting somebody, but one of them's going to have to step up and make an impact. Because this Burnley team's going to be defending with 8 or 9 guys at all times, and it's going to be tough to break through. I think that Werner has the ability. He's shown a lot of movement. We know that guys like Pulisic can really take on players. Ziyech, he's really creative. Mount, I'm not sure about Mount too much, but I think that they have the creativity needed to break this team down. I think the main concern would be losing or tying 0-0, but I think that they have enough creativity to break through. And lastly, I think they need to, similar to Sheffield United, just show effort the entire time. There have been times when Havertz has looked kind of like he's going through the motions, and their attack can really feel like that sometimes. They need to just play tough, give it 100%, and just try to come away with this win. So for Burnley, I mean, it's pretty simple. Just go out, try to defend as best you can. It's a tough ask for them to win. Nobody's going to hold it against them if they lose this game. But I think if they want to win, they're going to have some chances, and they need to take them. Chris Wood has been missing a lot of goals this year. He needs to step up. Ashley Barnes needs to create a goal. I really want to see Jay Rodriguez. I've been mentioning this for a while. I think that he's a big part of this team's success. Maybe if he gets in there, but not too sure. I think if they want to get some points from this game, Dwight McNeil's going to have to be big. He's been one of those guys where you watch him, it's like, oh, he's looked good, but he didn't get on the score sheet, didn't get an assist or anything. He's going to have to really make chances or make a goal this game. I think if they're able to do that, they have a chance. And honestly, maybe a set-piece goal would be good for them. I forgot to mention that with Sheffield as well, but set pieces are going to be big for like the relegation battling teams against the bigger teams. But overall, I really don't see anything other than a Chelsea win, maybe a 0-0 draw, but I'm predicting a Chelsea win. So then we have Liverpool against West Ham, and for Liverpool, this is a tough game going into it. Their center back core is really depleted. It's looking like they're going to be starting Joe Gomez and Reece Williams. I've not seen Reece Williams play a full 90 ever, I don't think. But he's going to need to have a good game. But I think the real keys are they're going to need to score some goals. I think that Salah might be hurt right now. So you're going to need Firmino to really step up, get them a goal. Mane's going to have to be there. Jota, maybe he can continue his form. That front three is going to have a good game. Maybe Robertson could do well getting forward. Trent Alexander-Arnold could create a chance. But it's going to be a tough game for them. They need to get some goals. I think their midfield needs to be working really hard. This is a defense that is very inexperienced. Joe Gomez, I think that we all know he's a very talented player, but he's not had too much Premier League experience. I don't think he's been an unquestioned starter for might be 2 years maybe, and he's been alongside Van Dijk the entire time. So I don't think it's really fair to ask Joe Gomez and Reece Williams, who are like an average age of like 20, to have a great game. I think the midfield's going to have to do well defensively. Henderson's going to have to step up. Wijnaldum's going to have to be winning balls back. And whoever's the last guy they throw in there, maybe a Keita, Milner. I don't know if Thiago's coming back yet. I haven't seen, but they're going to have a good game, and I think that Allison's going to have a good game as well. I think that West Ham's going to get some chances. They're going to have to. It's going to be tough for them. So for West Ham, I think their key is make sure you play attacking. Don't go into this game going, this is Liverpool, they're a great team, we need to play defensively, because if you do that, then Liverpool's going to come up with some goals. I don't see any way Liverpool... I don't see this game being a 0-0 draw or 1-0 West Ham win. I think that West Ham's going to need to really attack. Even when Liverpool got crushed by Villa, it was 7-2. Like, Salah still got 2 goals. I think they're going to score, but I think that West Ham needs to attack, realize this is a weakened defense. Gomez, he's not that experienced. Williams, he's probably played like 3 not under 23 games. And Trent Alexander-Arnold's not the best defensively as well. You need to get at this defense and really go for it. I think that Antonio's going to be back, so they need them to step up. I think that another thing is their subs really need to play well, whether it's Lanzini, Hilaire, whoever else they bring on, maybe Noble if he comes off the bench. They're going to have a big game. They're going to need to keep this team's energy up, and I think that they can really attack this Liverpool team. Lastly is this big thing, stay confident. This is a team that's gotten points off of Man City and Tottenham. They just beat Leicester and Wolves. This is a team that knows they can hang with big teams. And if they keep that confidence going, I think that they can do well in this Liverpool game. So for a prediction, I actually haven't predicted an upset yet. I'm probably not going to predict a big one other than this game, and I think that this is a game that West Ham can win. Liverpool's not going into this full strength. West Ham are really flying high. I think that West Ham will be able to get some points out of this, and I'm predicting they can get a win. So now we're on to the Sunday games, and we've got Aston Villa against Southampton. So I think the key for Aston Villa is Grealish really needs to be on his game today. I think that he's going to be getting some space. This is a midfield that isn't great defensively. I do like Ryan Bertrand and Kyle Walker-Peters on the flanks, but I think that Grealish will be able to get some space, and I think that he's going to be able to really show his creative side this game. He's going to have to come up with he's going to have to make some chances for this Aston Villa team. Then I think that they really need to shut down Danny Ings. He's been a really good player for Southampton. His creativity's been on fire this year. He's a clinical goal scorer. I think if they're able to shut this guy down, they'll really be able to get away with this win pretty easily. Then lastly, I really want this midfield to show their talent. I think that we look at John McGinn, Ross Barkley, Douglas Luiz. They're all international players. They're all players we know can have moments of magic at really any time, but they haven't been the greatest this year. And I really think that they need to step up, and they've got the ability to step up. Like, when you're analyzing these games, if you're watching like West Brom against Man City, and you're like, you don't go out of that game going, oh, West Brom's midfield was terrible, and spend like 5 minutes bashing Sawyers and Livermore, because you don't expect that out of them. But this is a midfield that I see the talent in, and you expect them to be better. And I think that they can be better, and this may be a game for them where they can really show their talent, break the Southampton press, make some chances. This is a defense that hasn't been consistent all year. I think that this is the game that they really need to step up. So for Southampton, I think that they've got a couple keys to the game that can really help them. I think that their offensive players need to be able to beat their man. So what I mean is, guys like Nathan Redmond or just any of their flank players, I think that they need to be able to take on their Southampton defenders, or the Aston Villa defenders, and beat them, be able to put in a ball. I think that it's going to be tough for them to, be able to string together some passing combinations to make some chances. I'm looking for some guys to really just dribble at a player, beat their man, make some chances out of that. Hopefully Nathan Redmond will step up this game. He's not been great all year. Maybe Shea Adams can continue his form. He's been looking good, and that just goes on to my next point. Get some players other than Danny Ings to score. because Aston Villa is going to be wary of Danny Ings, and I really trust Tyrone Mings at the back, and if he's really on Danny Ings, or if Douglas Luiz is really on Ings, then it's going to be tough for him to get involved. But if they're really focused on them, then guys like Redmond or Armstrong or Mbulu or Ward-Prowse. Well, Ward-Prowse has been good all year, but they really need to take their chances. I think that those chances will be able to come for a Shea Adams or whoever, and if they're able to really step up, I think they can win. And lastly, I think they need to defend well as a group. This is a team that really hasn't found themselves defensively yet. I don't think they've had a really consistent center back pairing. It looks like Vestergaard and Benderek is going to be the one they're going with. I think that they need to really start getting some chemistry. It's tough to always see from the sidelines, but maybe have somebody emerge as like a real leader of that defense. Maybe McCarthy needs to start organizing them a lot, but they really need to just get going, work well as a unit, defend well, and I think if they do that, it'll work out for them. So predicting this game, I really don't see any team having a really big advantage over the other. I honestly see this game being a draw. I mean, I could see how either team could win, but I think it's a pretty even matchup. I see it being a draw. So next we've got Everton against Newcastle. And man, who would have thought like a couple of years ago that I'd be mentioning Everton before Newcastle? I mean, going back to the early 2000s, but I'm watching some of that lately. But geez, Everton's been good lately. Honestly, Newcastle's been pretty good too as well, but geez, Everton's been great. I think the key for Everton this game is they've really got to defend the flanks well. And this is going to be tough for them because Lucas Digne is suspended. I think James Coleman is still injured. I know that John Joe Kenny's back and Holgate is in. I'm not sure if I trust Holgate that much, and I think this will be Kenny's first Premier League test, really. I know that he was starting for Schalke in the Bundesliga, but this is going to be the first Premier League opposition that he's going to be facing, and it's going to be a tough ask for them. And especially with, they're probably not going to get too much help from the wings. I think that Richarlison and James are out, but I don't think I can really trust them, so you're going to need whoever's in there, who's ever at the fullback position, probably Holgate, Kenny, maybe they throw a Braithwaite in there. Like, I'm not sure, but those fullbacks are going to have a good game. Next, they really got to give Dominic Calvert-Lewin some service because he's not been getting the best, and I think that Rodriguez might be out. You're going to need an Andre Gomes, Sigurdsson, whoever's playing forward, hopefully not a Iwobi, but it might be him. You're going to need all of them to really be able to give Calvert-Lewin the ball, give him the chance to score, because if they do that, I believe he'll be able to take it. And lastly, I think that the subs really need to have a good game. I don't just mean guys coming off the bench, I mean the people replacing Digne and Coleman. I mentioned them already, but the guy who's going to be coming in for James, he's going to need to have a good game. That might be Sigurdsson playing out wide, I'm not too sure. The guy coming in for Richarlison, they're going to have to play well because this is a team that had a really good starting 11 that's been doing well. When you look at the table, they're still in first, and that's really down to their starters. They really can't let them down. The people taking their chances really need to step up, I think. And for Newcastle, I think that the key to this game is I think they need to be creative today. I don't think that they can look at this as we're going into a game against the league leaders. We need to defend. I think that if they go into this game, attack, be creative, rely on St. Maximin, rely on Jacob Murphy. I remembered this time. I'm pretty sure it's Jacob. I'm not too sure, actually. But get them going. Let Almiron do his thing. I think that this team has a lot of creativity, and if they really go out and try to attack, I think they'll be able to stay in this game. And going off that, I think they need to keep this game end to end. If Everton really get dominant in possession, as you know they can with Allen and Andre Gomes, Sigurdsson, all in that midfield, that's a very strong midfield. If they're really able to get into possession, then Newcastle is going to have a hard time because if they do, Calvert-Lewin is going to get chances and he's going to take them. But so I think that Newcastle really need to keep this game going end to end, and on top of that, I think that Callum Wilson needs to step up this game. he's been pretty good this year. I think most of his goals have come off of penalties and mostly penalties. But I think that he needs to really have a game this week if they want to be able to get some points out of it. So overall, going into this game, I really think it ends up being a draw. I mean, both these teams are pretty even given Everton's injuries and suspensions, but I think that both the teams have the ability to get some goals. Both the teams are showing some defensive weaknesses, and I see it really being a draw, I think. So now we're on to probably the biggest game of the week, Manchester United against Arsenal. And, so for Manchester United, the main key, take your chances on the break. I mentioned before, but I really think that Marcus Rashford may be the best counter-attacking player in the Premier League right now. He's been on fire lately. I think that if he really gets going on the break, Arsenal can be in some big trouble. Then you've got Martial and Bruno Fernandes is going to be running in. Pogba can really play that killer pass, and he really steps up in games against tougher opposition, I believe. So I'm really looking for this Manchester United team to really go for it on the break. I think defensively that they really need to deal with Aubameyang well. He is Arsenal's biggest threat, I think, and I feel like if Aubameyang really isn't making some chances, it's going to be very tough for them to score. Really, aside from Aubameyang, who do you have to deal with creatively? I mean, Lacazette's going to be there. I think that Willian might be a bit of a threat down the right flank if Luke Shaw is starting, and it's Tejas' first game. He might be a bit of a threat, but I think that if they neutralize Aubameyang, they'll be in a really good position. And I think that their subs need to make a pretty big impact this week. They're pretty good. They've been pretty good lately. I think that they've really turned the tide of the games, but it's going to be pretty big this week. And whether that's Daniel James coming on, he's going to have to show some end product, or whatever midfield they don't decide to start when either Van de Beek or Pogba, maybe Juan Mata, if they come on, they're going to have to play pretty well. I think that that's really what they need to do to win. So for Arsenal, I think that they need to get their best versions of their best players, because this is a pretty big game and a pretty big rivalry. So you need your players to really step up. I mean, Aubameyang hasn't been that great lately, and if we're going to be cynical, he hasn't been that great since he got his contract extension. He's going to need to really step up this week. You're going to need Lacazette to be on his best. You're going to need Willian to have a great game. I think that Saka's going to be hyped up no matter what. You're going to need Ceballos to play well. Partey's going to have to play really well. It's going to be a tough game for this Arsenal team. They need to get the best out of all their players. Next is, I really think that they're going to have a lot of possession this week. As I mentioned, I think Manchester United will try to attack on the break, and they're going to have to make a lot of their possession. Especially against Leicester last week, they really didn't do anything with their possession. They're going to have to make some chances. I think it's going to come down to either Ceballos, Aubameyang, or Willian really making something happen. Maybe Saka, but I don't think you can really rely on him I don't really think you should be able to rely on teenagers in the game against Manchester United, especially if he's attacking down the left and you've got Wan-Bissaka in. But it's going to be a tough ask for this team. You're going to need some creativity when in possession. A lot of times teams can really be satisfied with just having a lot of possession. You're going to need some players to really take some chances. As mentioned, Willian, Ceballos, Aubameyang, I think it's going to come down to them. And lastly, you're going to have to deal well with the break. I think that this is probably the best that they've been equipped to deal with this in a while. Thomas Partey's a signing that I really rate. He's going to have to break up some of these breakaways. He's going to have to maybe stop Pogba from putting in some good passes, or Bruno. And this defense is going to have to step up. I think that Bayern and maybe Tierney, I think they're athletic enough to deal with the break, but it's still going to be tough for them. And they're really going to have to stop this Manchester United team from breaking if they want to score. And I think if they do that, then Manchester United won't be able to get a goal outside of that. So for my prediction for the result of this game, I think Manchester United still win. I think Rashford makes something happen on the break. Maybe they even get a couple goals late on when the subs come on. Maybe win 3-0. but I think it's going to be a 1-0 game throughout most of the game. But I think Manchester United comes away with the win. So next we've got Tottenham against Brighton. And this is going to be a pretty big game for Tottenham. They've been playing really well, but they haven't been getting the most results. And honestly, you can say the same about Brighton. But I think for Tottenham, it's the Kane and Son show. You're going to need Kane and Son to keep performing. I don't think that you can really rely on anybody outside of them on Tottenham until Bale gets going, or maybe one of their midfielders like Ndombele or maybe Lo Celso really step up. But until then, it's going to be a tough ask for this team. But I think that Kane and Son will be able to get something going. We know how big their connection has been. I think they're averaging at least one Kane assist to Son a game right now. Probably more, but yeah, they're going to have to keep playing well. I think they're going to need to get a little bit of creativity from somewhere else. I think Reunion, he's been really good since he signed. Maybe it's him. Maybe Højbjerg really gets something going. And Ndombele, Lo Celso, it looks like he'd be off the bench if he comes on, but one of them is really going to have to step up. I think that they're not going to be able to rely on just Kane and Son for this game. And lastly, I think you need to defend physically, because this is a Brighton team that really does well in possession. If you let them on the ball a lot, I think that they'll be able to punish this Tottenham team. You've got guys like Trossard, Lamptey, Solly March. All of them are there. I think if you really get up to them, get physical, make them uncomfortable, they'll be able to do a lot better defensively. Honestly, I mentioned Reunion, but maybe this is a game that you start maybe Ben Davies to try to deal with that Tariq Lamptey threat. I'm not sure, because that does take away one of your few creative outlets, but it is a tough ask for this Tottenham team. I think Jose Mourinho's up for it, though. I think that he's earned my trust at this point. Then for Brighton, it's a tough ask for them. This is a good Tottenham team. I think the main thing is you're going to need Umpai to score, because Brighton, they've been looking good. They've been getting some good results, but they've only got one win so far. And I think they played Manchester United really well. I think they played Chelsea really well, but they didn't get results from that. I think they need to get this guy. They need their striker to score. And I know that sounds obvious, but I think that's the big key for them. Get a good result from their striker. Next, I think this Brighton team will be able to get a really good spell of possession, and when they get that, they need to take advantage of it. So I think this Brighton team, they've got a pretty talented midfield, some good forwards. I think that when they get that chance, because they're going to get at least a 10-minute spell when they're really on it this game, they need to take advantage of that, because if they don't, this Tottenham team will punish them. And honestly, when they get that possession chance, if they don't get it, Tottenham probably going to score on the break. Probably going to be Son scoring on the break. Lastly, I think that this is one player that I want to step up. I think Ben White's going to have a good game. There's a lot of hype going into him this year after his performances with Leeds in the Championship, but right now there has to be some concern that was Bielsa getting the best out of him. And I think that he's really going to have a good game this week. I don't know where that'll be, a defensive mid or a center back, but no matter what, he's going to have to deal with Kane. If he's in the midfield, I want him to see him really make himself felt in this game, because this Tottenham midfield's not that great, and just overall have a good game. So what I think for this game, I think it's going to be Tottenham coming away with the win. Son and Kane have been on fire lately. Maybe Bale will really step up for once, or for the first time, I should say, this year. And overall, I really have faith in Jose Mourinho and this Tottenham attack to really do well. So, on to the Monday games, and we've got the relegation six-pointer of Fulham against West Brom. So for Fulham, I think they have a couple of keys to this game. I think the main one is that they should really go for the win, because this is one of their few chances to really get points this year. Like a game where they know that they have equal or greater talent than their opposition. And I think that they should really try to take advantage of this, like attack. I've actually got a good bit of faith in their defense. Now they've got Adebayo in there, Robertson, Aina's been playing well. Well, he did struggle with Zaha, but I think that I trust him enough. And I just have faith in that defense. Attack, go for it. Get Kearney going. Get Calviero going. Mitrovic really needs to score as well. That's another key. He's been having some bad games lately. He's going to need to take his chances when he gets them. But, yeah, just go for the win. And I think defensively the main thing is deal with Pereira. He's been West Brom's main creative threat. And I think that if they're able to shut him down, it's going to be very tough for this West Brom team to score. So then for West Brom, I think the keys is get the most out of their wide men. Diangana's been playing pretty well lately. Callan Robinson's been doing good when he comes on. Pereira's really creative when he's on. And I think Grant can drift out wide as well. But I think that they really need to attack these wings. We saw that Zaha was able to beat Aina last week. Robinson, he's not really proven in the Premier League yet. Even though I do have faith in them, just attack them. I think that they can go for it. Maybe they'll be able to get something out of the wings. I think if they do score, it'll be something from the touchline. Then I think that the key for them is defensively is going to be how well their fullbacks and defensive mids can play. Because, they have Jake Livermore in there. I think Gallagher's been in there. I've been liking him since he came in. And their fullbacks, whether it's Townsend or Furlong or maybe Kieran Gibbs will get in there. I really like to see Darragh O'Shea get back in there. I thought he was playing well, but their fullbacks, defensive mids, I think they need to have a good game because this is a Fulham team that can create some chances. While their wide men, I don't really have the most faith in. I forgot to mention Lookman earlier for Fulham. He's probably going to have a great game. Forgot to mention him, but they're going to have to deal with guys like Lookman, Calviero, the fullbacks when they get forward, and this attack. I think that their defensive mids and fullbacks really need to step up if they want to win this game. And lastly, they need to play a full 90 minutes. This is a West Brom team that, I think I mentioned this last week, they've had 3 good halves this entire year, basically. Now, they've been able to get 3 points out of those halves, but they haven't been able to string like a full 90 where they're really looking good. And this is a game against Fulham. This is probably their best chance. And if they're really not able to get points out of this, I'm not going to have too much faith in them. But just play the full 90 minutes, defend well, get the most from their wings. Maybe they get a result from this. So for me, I'm going to be picking Fulham to get the win this week. As mentioned, I like their defense. They've got some really good creative players. I think that Mitrovic is talented enough to score, but it is going to be a tough game for them. Last and certainly not least for this week, we've got Leicester against Leeds and the Monday night game. Well, Monday afternoon for me, but... So for Leicester, key to this game, their counterattack. Most Vardy, let's be honest. Get this counterattack going. Leeds is going to have a lot of possession, but that's going to leave them kind of open on the counterattack. I think that if they're able to really break through the lines, you're going to have to get a good pass from a Tielemans, maybe Harvey Barnes or Under again, but I think that the break's going to be on. They're going to have to take their chances when they get them. Now, I think their defenders are going to have to be at their best level today, or on Monday, because this is a Leicester team that's going to be missing Pereira. I think Castanha's hurt. I don't know if Suanku's going to be back yet. You're going to have Johnny Evans, Fofana, Justin, and probably Fuchs. All of them are going to have to step up and play at their best because this is a Leeds team that will attack them, will challenge their defense. And you're going to have Fuchs deal with Harrison. You're going to have Justin be dealing with Costa probably, and it's going to be a really tough ask for them, especially with how good this Leeds attack has been lately, but they're going to have to step up. And lastly, I think that their creative players are going to have a good game. Tielemans has been really on lately, but I want to see a bit more from Harvey Barnes and James Maddison. Those are players that really have to have their goals on the England squad right now in the Euro 2021, but they're going to have some big games. Harvey Barnes hasn't been on since the start of the year. Maddison, he really hasn't got it going yet this year. I think that they're going to have some good games. They're going to have to be creative and make some chances, because if not, then it's really just going to have to be Vardy chasing down a ball and trying to make something out of it, which, I'll be honest, I trust him to do, but that's going to be tough. And then for Leeds, I think that they really need to take their chances when they have the attack. They're going to have the most possession. They're going to have a lot of chances. You're going to need Patrick Bamford to keep his form up. Jeez, he's already on 6 goals. I think for this year I predicted he wouldn't get 5, so keep proving me wrong, man. And I think they got to attack the flanks. As I mentioned, Castagna is still hurt. Pereira, I thought that he was going to be back in October, but it looks like he won't be. But they're going to have to attack the flanks well. Harrison, Costa, maybe Oliowski or Luke Ayling. I've really liked him in the Premier League so far. But they're really going to have to get going, make some chances, put in some crossings, and try to get that goal. I think out wide is going to be a big area for them to attack. And lastly, deal with Vardy. He's one of the most dangerous strikers in the Premier League, top scorer last year. You're going to have to watch out for him because you know that he can make you pay at a moment's notice. So, yeah, that's about it. I think Leeds is probably going to come away with the win. With all the injuries Leicester is dealing with, they just had a game Thursday night. It's a tough ask for them to beat Leeds, so I think the Leeds are going to come away with the win. Yeah, so that's it for my predictions, the preview. Hope you watch this, you're well informed of what's going to happen. Yeah, it's going to be a fun week, I think. Yeah, that's about it. See you.